Hello, everyone, and welcome to the wettest podcast on the internet.
Oh, pause.
I mean, it is the wettest podcast.
Have you been on Twitch lately?
Pause.
Yeah, is this within Twitch's guidelines? I
Yeah,
don't know.
anything's on Twitch.
They change weekly, but for now, this is the wettest podcast until YouTube takes it down. But we are back in a pool. We like to get in hot tubs, pools. That is kind of... We were ahead of the times.
We
Oh,
were.
yeah.
Because Twitch was always like, that's kind of the meta, is to get in a hot tub.
Oh, it is now.
It
That
is
and
now,
gamble.
but we did that in 2017.
It's kind of like you kind of need some other components.
Oh my
The hot tub
gosh,
to
we
really
should
pay
do a
off.
podcast from a casino, boys.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? Put in the comments if you want to see.
Put in the comments if you want to see it. I keep having to look back at everybody.
Oh, it's. I mean, you want to move forward? I can.
No, this is good, I guess. I'm trying to get used to where we got to be. But you're here. You're right there, up on land. You're dry. We're wet. But welcome to the DweeBros podcast. We've got a really talking about wet. Can I continue on the wet theme?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you're already there.
Okay. If you come for wet, you come to the right spot. I do videography work.
Oh, I'm soaked just by you saying that.
I hope you are too. And before we get to games, we talk about games. We don't just talk about what's wet. Like, we talk about other dry stuff too. But we talk about games and movies and TV shows. But I want to talk about toilets first.
I'm dry now.
So, I do videography, and I did a wedding this past weekend. And wedding ceremony gets over. We're in this big Catholic church.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, where's the restroom at? They're like, oh, it's down in the basement. You have to go whatever. And I had to go down this maze, and I found the restroom finally. And I go in, and there's like the sink, there's a stall, and there's a urinal behind it. And I open the stall. Like, the stall's there, and I'm like, the stall just looks off.
Okay.
It looks really small, and I open it, and like the toilet is right up against it, but I'm like, that looks small. Okay, whatever. And I go to the urinal. But then I'm like drawn to the stall.
Okay.
And I go to the urinal, and I come back to that stall because I'm like, this looks weird. Like, something's weird. And I open it up, and I go into the stall, and I close the door. I try to close the door. I'm not kidding you. This is the stall door when it's closed. The toilet's right here.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, I'm going to try to sit down on this thing.
I mean, that sounds
This
punishing.
seems off. So I sit down in this thing. My knees hit the door.
Oh my
They're
gosh.
scraping up against the door. And my feet, like if this is my foot, it's sticking out. It's right here. So here's the door. You could see if someone was in there, both of their feet.
I mean, it's probably a
it's
good
not
thing.
like
You
it's
know
under
not to
it.
knock. Like,
Yeah, you wouldn't have to knock
you don't have to
because
knock.
you could walk in there halfway in the aisle to get to the other urinal.
When was this? Is this?
But I sat
older?
in there, and I was like, my knees were hitting. Like, I sat on the toilet to make sure I wasn't crazy.
Yeah.
My knees were hitting, like, and I was like, could you imagine, like, other people would have to, like, taller than me?
Oh,
you just
yeah.
have to hit your, like,
Was it an
feet
older
up on the
church
door.
building? Like, was it an older?
Yeah, it was an old, like.
I mean, I wonder if they just
but
haven't
it was
touched
a-
that thing and.
It was
That
a
ain't
newer,
up to code.
It was
Yeah.
a newer stall, but I was
Shut
like,
up.
it was newer. Like, they had redone it, and I was like in there laughing, like giggling to myself. You can probably hear me giggling from upstairs because I'm like, who allowed this? Like, why did you allow this to happen? Because yeah, there's no way I couldn't even fit in there. But then I thought, I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I said, did I accidentally go to like the children's?
Yeah, it's
It's
kids'
a
seat.
kid thing. I was like, oh,
yeah.
okay. I come back out because I'm like, let me look at the sign again. It says men's. It's not like, it wasn't a kid's thing or anything else like it.
I mean,
And the urinal was tall too. The urinal
I
was
guess
like
it
a
could be
regular
worse.
adult
I
size
feel
thing,
like whenever you use public restrooms, there's always a dice roll.
but this was I've never seen a stall door hit the toilet. That was crazy. Like, you
No,
can't.
That's a first for me.
That was nuts.
That's a
Do you
first.
guys have any interesting bathrooms?
I'd love to hear about people's bathroom stories.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know?
absolutely.
Do you know any?
Or
interesting-
interesting like bathroom stories. Have you ever had a? Well, I mean, this might be. You ever had a kid peep their head underneath the stall?
Oh, in elementary school, they'd always jump
Well,
up
not-
and they look down on
Oh,
you.
like in adult life, I've had a kid
Yeah,
like,
I've had a kid.
poke their head under and go, "Whoa, bud."
Hey, well, 'cause it's like, okay, I'll give you an example. I'll tell a story. I was at Target. And this actually happened a couple years ago. I was at Target, and I was grabbing something. And I was like, I need to go to the bathroom. Targets are known to have like decent public restrooms.
Yeah.
They're not bad.
Yeah.
So of course, like they have 3 stalls. Like so, I go in there and I take the handicap one because I like the space.
You like the antithesis of the smaller man.
It's just my decision. I'm a person.
He's the terrible guy.
But I'm sitting there and I'm doing my thing, and I hear someone walk in, and you just hear that, and so you can tell like, oh, they're walking quick. Has to be a kid. You know what I mean? And he checks the first stall, checks the second stall, and he knocks on the third stall, and I was like, I'm in here. And the next thing you see his head come down here, I was like, hey! And he's like, oh, I didn't know anyone was in here. I was like, I just said I was in here. And so then you hear an adult walk in, and he's like, go to the bathroom. And I was like, oh, this kid just straight ran amok without his parent for the first 15 seconds, I guess. I don't know. But it was so weird, because you heard him open the other 2 stalls.
Yeah.
You had no business. Like, no
People,
business.
I feel like you hear that all the time. You go to try the door. Some people say occupied, some people whatever. Or if the door's locked, it's over. Like, you're not
Bro,
getting
it's
in.
the worst.
But people will try to, like, get in the door, and it's like, occupied. Da-da-da-da. I'm in here. Like, you
I'm taking a
can't get
dump.
in.
Like, leave me alone. Like, no,
They want to get in there and help you.
I guess. I don't know. I just didn't want to go to jail. That was my thing.
At that point, though, when people come in, it's like free show. Like, I don't care.
Yeah,
like,
once
I'm
that
not
door's
embarrassed.
closed on my
like,
end,
You're getting
yeah.
a free show.
Have you ever been to Buc-ee's?
Yes.
Yes.
Best public restroom I've ever been to.
So they're a big gas station here in the U.S. and it's like a
Huge.
beaver,
Yeah, it's
like
a
is the
beaver
logo.
eye. Yeah, it's ginormous. It has over 100 pumps of gas.
Yeah.
Huge. And I went to the bathroom, and
And you saw Bucky in
it's
there.
almost like sitting on a Japanese toilet. It starts singing to you and crap, and you're like,
Oh, I didn't know
this
that.
place is
I've been in
amazing.
Bucky's, but I didn't know it sung to
It's
you.
amazing. And then they have showers. You can take a shower.
I've seen the showers, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the showers are really nice. I was like, bro, I could live at a Buc-ee's and not have an issue. Or I can get a brisket sandwich for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, take a shower.
I've heard that's good. Their
Yeah.
stuff
So,
they got there.
Shout out to Buc-ee's for keeping the
Shouts
public
out to
restroom
Buc-ee's.
on the game.
What place consistently has the worst restroom?
Shell.
Shell gas
Shell.
station.
Yeah, gas stations are always bad, but
Yeah, no,
I
but
want to
Shell
talk
in
about
particular.
the worst one we ever did. I went with my wife's family a couple of years ago, and it was an outdoor, like,
Oh.
it was like hiking trails and stuff, and you know how they have like those little, like, you walk in the little maze to get to the bathrooms, and we all had to use the restroom really bad, like pee or whatever, right before we got on the trail. Walk in there, and it still is like haunting my dreams. Like it was the most disgusting.
Yep.
Like,
And you have
none
to
of the
go.
toilets could flush.
Yep.
So they were all full, and like
Piled on.
they were like in tears laughing at me because they could hear me because like it's all kind of outdoor, semi-outdoor, and I was like doing a comedy skit for them because I was like, oh my gosh, this has been here since 1979. I was like. There was flies in there,
Oh,
and I was
no.
screaming. But I was like, I might as well just go out in the woods. That was a 0 out of 10. That was the worst.
I think if I had to rank
Experience,
public
like,
restrooms,
ugh.
it's the ones that are detached from the main building. So if you go to a gas station, there's a restroom detached from the main building.
Yeah.
You're in for a bad time. You
Yeah.
know they don't clean those suckers regularly. The second worst ones are public parks. I think
Yeah.
public park bathrooms might be the worst thing ever
I have a
created.
public park stories too.
Dude.
I went into one, and I walked in, and it was one where like the lights turn on when they detect motion.
That's good of them.
So I come in, okay, the door light comes on, cool. I really gotta do number 2, so I'm sitting there. When I get close to the toilet, I see there's like bugs around, like not like there's spiders in the corners, whatever. It's like I really gotta go. So I see these spiders, I see these other bugs that are around. Sit down, use it. Lights go off. Start
waving your hands.
on the toilet, just
Shaking any
going
body
nuts,
part.
Like,
Oh,
finally
no.
got it on, but I was like, because like there's bugs near me and it's all off now, and I was like, that's not a good spot to be. Fine.
Well, speaking of taking a dump, there was not E3 this
There
month.
was not E3 once
No
again.
E3.
And it wasn't all bad. There were some highlights.
It wasn't terrible.
There were some lowlights. There were some highlights.
Yeah.
Did we talk about the Sony stuff last month? I don't think we did.
Don't think we
it
did
happened.
No,
either.
it was, but I feel like it was just no, we didn't.
And
It was Concord and Astrobot.
Yeah.
Was there anything else?
It was the
Like-
best of times. It was the worst of times. That's a real tale of two cities
Yeah.
situation there. So, yeah, I mean, you guys want to talk about some of the...
Yeah, let's go for it.
And I guess, like, we were talking about this before the podcast a little bit, not to get too, like, meta narrative or whatever, but, you know, E3 I miss it. But I think I miss where the industry was. I think even if they had E3 right now,
The industry
I don't know
sucks.
if
It may not be good.
Yeah.
I think vibes are a little off right now. And
Yeah.
so we're battling through that. But, you know, I think there was still some good stuff shown. But I think you can really see that with Sony's stuff these days. I mean, think about 2017.
Yeah.
Us sitting in that basement, you know,
Doing our
not
reactions.
wearing shoes, doing our reactions, and, you know, Horizon, Resident Evil 7,
God of
Death
War.
Stranding, God of War. You know, it was just boom, 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 boom. And now you watch Sony's, you know, big blowout thing of the year, Astrobot. I want to talk about that because I'm very excited. But man, Concord, like some of these games that are their first party.
Yeah.
Like, this is our big best foot forward stuff. It's not that stuff that we
Yeah.
kind of fell in love with.
I think for
with
Sony
them.
this year, it's really their biggest game was Helldivers. Really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this calendar year,
For
absolutely.
first party,
That's
I
gonna be
guess
the one
would
you're
be.
going to see a lot more support for.
Was it first party or is it was first party? Yeah, it was
party.
first
Yeah,
party.
they bought those guys.
Yeah, I think that's their biggest one. Now that was big and that was a huge game this
Yeah.
year. So
Rebirth is like a de facto.
it's a third party,
It's
biggest third party
exclusive.
exclusive.
They don't own it, but I mean,
That was their big one.
Might
yeah.
as well.
For me, that was big.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So I saw that. That was Astrobot looks really good.
So Astrobot's the thing, and they saved it for last. I think that they
Well, everybody
knew
was clamoring for another one after that. That
Yeah.
PS5, it came out for free on the
that
PS5.
PS5
Like
Astrobot
awesome.
thing. I mean, I love that game.
It was
Yeah.
a good time, and it did everything it was supposed to do. But it's like when you get a taste of what the controller is and what that IP could do.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, let's actually make a full-fledged game that doesn't involve VR.
Yeah.
I mean, or anything like that. That's going to be where it's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's see what you got.
It made me love the controller. It made me like do a 180 on like
It
I was
did,
gonna
'cause
buy a
that
shirt. I was
Best
gonna
day
buy
one
Yeah.
I've ever had with I guess
the
Breath of the Wild on the
collectibles in
Switch
that game,
too.
remember the
but-
collectibles?
Oh,
How you
so
have to
fun.
go through the
Yeah.
entire history.
and you get to
of
like look through some, and I started
Yeah.
like appreciating Sony's history. Not that I did
Yeah.
before, but
Yes,
it's
it
like
was awesome.
you always. I feel like a lot of people know Nintendo's history and like the Game Boy and all this, but it's
Yep.
like no, Sony's had a cool one too. Like,
Yep.
and there's cool accessories they've had and all this other stuff. So, no, like that's a day one for me.
I'm all in. I'm all
Ordered
in.
that. So,
But was there anything else at that show?
I
Not that I
can't
can-
think of.
I guess
Yeah.
they showed Silent Hill. I
Oh
think.
yeah, they showed that, but I don't. People were kind of mixed on. That.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have to see how that goes.
They had I think this month we had a direct come out too.
Yeah, so
We
we'll
had the
talk
Nintendo
about the direct. The direct came out. We got some good stuff on that. We have the first one that I want to talk about is Brothership,
Yep.
which is the first Mario and Luigi game in forever. And I was like, when was the last one that why haven't I played whatever? I forgot
It's
one
been
came
a
out.
while.
One came out in 2019 or something, and it was called Dream Team or something.
Oh, maybe. I was
And-
thinking of Superstar Saga.
Well, Superstar Saga was on GBA.
Yeah.
Then they made Partners in Time. Then they made Bowser's Inside Story. Those three are awesome. I really, really like those games. They're funny. They're well written. And then they made Dream Team, and I was like, "What is this?" And that reviewed poorly. And then they made Paper Mario like mixed with it, and that didn't get reviewed well either. But then I was watching because somebody on TikTok was showing all like, here's the release schedule like for these games you want to know whatever, and I was sliding through, and they got to Dream Team's cover, and then I slipped to the Paper Mario one, and it was the same cover. They just like took a couple assets out of it, and I was like, that pretty much sums it up. It was so lazily, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was the same box art. I was looking at
Yep.
Mario, I was like, that's the same one, and then they just changed the corner and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, they did not put any heart into this, but.
No.
But this new one looks like there's heart into it. But like the team that made that Alpha Dream has since shut down or got merged with something else. So we'll see how this new one goes with this new developer. They haven't said who is developing, but it looks
I
pretty
think
cool.
coming out of the direct, there wasn't a ton because they filled the direct up with so many indies.
Yeah.
They've really
Yeah.
pushed the indie agenda. But I care about more about Nintendo's first party than anything.
Yeah.
And we got two things that were actually really, really cool. One that's actually like shocking is a Legend of Zelda, but from Zelda's perspective.
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah.
I,
Nintendo's gone woke.
can I tell you this? I'm kind of disappointed they didn't name it the Legend of Link.
that they missed their. They
Am I the
missed
only
mark.
one? Can someone else just like kind of confirm my thought on it?
I don't feel that way because from a branding perspective, I think that would be a funny like wink and nod. That would hurt the sales of the
It
game.
would.
Yeah.
That's a very bad sales
I
decision.
guess I just
It
look
would have
at
been
it-
a very funny
It
time
would have
to
been
do
funny,
it because
but
it finally is the Legend of Zelda for
Yeah.
the first time in its,
Yeah.
the franchise's history. But
Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't expect them to have done that. It would have been
Yeah.
funny. I will say, watching the trailer, it looked like kind of a Link Between Worlds or like the Link's Awakening
Yeah.
type thing. And then when they pulled that reveal, I kind of was wondering, I was like, are they going this route with this?
Yeah.
This looks like it, and they did. I think it looks awesome.
Oh, I
think
love
that
it.
wand. I
Yeah.
love that they're bringing that creative part
Yep.
of the, where the 3D series has gone back to 2D. But they still, you can tell they're gonna have temples, and it's gonna be, still the traditional 2D Zelda experience in terms of the format and the
Yeah.
way the world's kind of structured. But you can kind of break it and mess with it. With
I think
these
it's smart
items.
just to expand the IP too. I mean, like there are characters in the Legend of
Is
Zelda.
it going to be traditional? Like
do you
the temples? It might be like more like open. It kind of seems.
Well, I think it's going to be like. So you played the new one, the not what's it called?
Link's
Legend of Zelda.
Awakening.
Yeah, Link's
the
Awakening,
remake. The remake of that.
I feel like it's going to be everything about that, like the same breath. But I don't think it's going to be much different outside of like what the formula is, which is temple crawling, item collection. those things.
But I guess I say that because that system. So the big, I think, as a reveal of like you're playing a Zelda is like it's kind of Breath of the Wild light because you get to clone these items and you get to build out like how you want to solve this. Like you can use this, you can use tables, you can use whatever to like get to where you want to in the environment. It's like, oh, that's interesting.
I think
like,
I look at this game more the fact I'm excited to see what they give for weaponry because like I always associate Zelda with the light bow and that's it.
Well, it's kind of like it's called Echoes of Wisdom, and people were saying it was like, well, this is cool. She's like, you have to use your like wits about you to like get
Well,
out of it.
she
So it's like
also-
she can summon those enemies.
Yes.
She can summon enemies and stuff. But it's like, oh, I can throw a chair out. I can like do this. I can like create new scenarios
And
to
also,
where
she has
you
the
get out of
Triforce
it.
of Wisdom.
She does.
Come on now. I mean, like,
Oh, okay. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
she has the Triforce of Wisdom too.
So she's got her wits about her.
Makes sense.
Well,
about it.
I think it sounds like we're all pretty excited about
Yeah,
that.
that's gonna be cool.
You said that they didn't have a lot of first party. I didn't feel that way, but what I did feel was, so back in the day, they had a DS and they had a Wii, and then they had a 3DS and they had a Wii U, and it was always split. And I feel like their consoles would run out of steam, where they didn't have big 3D stuff
Hitters.
anymore. And I do feel like those would be the times people would really get into their 3DS. They would really get into
Yeah.
that. Now that they're one united platform, this felt to me like a lot of more mobile-ish type games. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
the Brothership and the Echoes of Wisdom and stuff. So
well, they're bringing back Luigi's Mansion 2.
yeah, Luigi's Mansion. So like, I
Which is
don't,
gonna
which
be
is
good.
3DS.
I don't know that I would say they didn't have any first party. I just think that like in most years or in most generations, this would be the part where they'd have a big lull. And they're not having that lull because they're leaning on their handheld type.
I do want to say
franchises.
when this direct started, I was scared because they were like Donkey Kong Country Returns, and I was
Yeah.
like, we've already put that on 3DS.
Like,
it was already on the
stop.
Wii. I was like, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
And then they showed Luigi's Mansion, which we knew about before,
Yeah.
but them showing that again I was like,
You're getting worried.
yeah, I'm getting worried. I was like, what's the rest of the direct going
They
to be
they
like?
pulled it out, and even
ports,
Wonder
yeah.
was kind of a tip of the cap of that was the direction that
Yeah.
this would be going while we wait for the next Switch. So.
Which I'm fine with it. It's just more like I'm used to Nintendo just continuing. I feel like lately it's been recycle and continue instead of just build new.
Yeah.
And so like it's either they're bringing something back and then they're remaking, which I'm okay with because there are games I
Yeah,
wanna
Metroid
play.
Prime trilogy.
I
and
want
all
to
that
play
stuff.
again. I
Or
want
the
to play
first
these
one.
games again. I'm okay with Luigi's Mansion 2. I'm okay with Paper Mario: Thousand Year Old Door. I'm okay with that. My thing though is like eventually.
I want some new ideals.
So, and that's what we got in the end.
Yeah.
We did get a new ideal again.
Yeah.
In Metroid Prime.
you guys saying ideal? Are you trying to say idea?
Idea, my bad. Sorry.
No, that's what I always
You guys
say,
were
ideal.
both saying it. I was like,
Oh,
am I
I know.
losing my mind?
I always say it, and I've been made fun of it my whole life.
No.
You're wrong.
Yeah,
but
you're
it's
wrong.
fine.
But
Sorry,
I've fought
I've
people.
been idea.
I'll fight even.
I just
people
wanted to be the
online.
voice of the audience for a minute. Like I feel like I'm going crazy here.
So Metroid Prime 4.
They basically rebooted it, and that was 20. I mean, it's been like.
Well, they announced it back in 2019.
Yeah, so it's been 5 years since the reboot.
Absolutely.
I thought it was 6 years since the reboot.
It might be 6. 6 years since they said this thing sucks.
Yeah.
Well,
Internally,
who was
they
what
said
was
it
the
sucked.
original
And
studio that was on it that they canned.
I can't remember.
No idea.
And it might be the same. It might. I think it is retro, isn't
I think they
it?
switched. And
It was somebody that wasn't. It was Bandai Namco, I thought,
Oh.
and then they booted them, and then it became Retro, who did
Okay.
the old ones.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, we got to see it again for the first time because that time all that we got to see back then was the logo.
Yeah,
for the
we got to
longest
see only
time.
the
So this is
logo.
the first time we got to saw gameplay and all that stuff. But this might have been. Now I don't think it was the quality of it. This might be the first Switch 2 game. Really, people were saying.
it looked like beyond what the Switch can do. I'll say that.
Yeah. So this might be, and I do think it's gonna be cross-gen though. Like, also looking at this trailer, I was like,
Switch 2.
I think you're gonna see this on Switch and Switch 2. But
I don't know,
I'm,
man. I think we're getting it on the Switch only.
What did you guys actually think of like the content of the trailer?
It looked like Metroid.
it looked like Metroid.
'Cause
It's
to
another
me,
Metroid.
Yeah, like
It's another
I've been
Metroid.
playing the remaster. It just looked like more Metroid
Yeah.
Prime. It doesn't look like this. Now we don't even know what the. I guess my one complaint.
There also might be a trick we don't know to it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. My one thing is, even like when we first saw Dread, we saw the Emmys. Like,
Yeah.
Nintendo's generally really good, like Echoes of Wisdom. When they reveal a game,
Yeah.
they reveal the hook. It makes me a little nervous that this might be coming out in under a year and we still don't know what the hook is.
Yeah.
If it's just another Metroid
I do
campaign,
think there.
no
I
hook.
wonder if the Switch 2 has a little gimmick to it, and we're gonna see more.
You have
I
gyro
think they're
aiming.
gonna. They might be
Gyro
brand new.
aiming.
Gyro
Yeah.
aiming.
I just think Prime's thing is like always been very story heavy with through first person lens, and where like I know what you mean, what you're saying in the other ones. I just think they're just continue making the same like, hey, here's a cool story in Metroid's world.
Yeah,
That's it.
I don't know. It might not have like.
My,
And you're
yeah,
playing it in first person.
it may be a Kingdom Hearts 3 then. That's my only
So it's
thing
like
is if
too
it's
late.
just that thing again.
Yeah.
You
No,
it's like that would have
I-
been cool on the Wii U.
Yeah.
You know.
With you, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, Nintendo put out their offerings like that, which was okay. I would
Yeah.
say it's okay.
Yeah.
There was nothing else at the Direct. I thought there was
Well,
something.
There was other stuff. That was what I cared about.
Yeah,
That I
there
wrote
was
down.
other like whatever.
Things
Shovel
stood
Knight
out.
9, like whatever
Okay.
you want to say. Yeah, sure. Activision. I will say this:
What did Activision do?
we got a Call of Duty teaser.
Oh, we did.
We got Black Ops 6. Treyarch is here to
And
save the franchise.
We got Bill Clinton.
I feel like every year you tell me Treyarch's
No,
going to save the
No,
franchise.
Treyarch has because they've been in development for 4 years. This game.
Oh, maybe I've just been hearing you say they're in development.
It's been in development. Treyarch has been developing.
What do
this
you?
game.
Oh, how long does it take to make a Call of Duty game? They've been spending 4 years
Call
on
of
it.
Duty. So Activision primarily uses three developers to
Yeah.
put their games out. It's Infinity Ward, the worst ever. Sledgehammer, the second worst ever. And Treyarch, which is the best.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Two
okay.
bad ones.
Treyarch has made World of War.
So the two worst studios ever and the best
Well,
studio
let me ask you,
ever
Travis,
are all
what's your two favorite Call of Duty games of all time?
Call of Duty 2 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare. 4,
Okay.
the original.
2 was made by Treyarch.
2 was not. 2 was made by Infinity Ward. You're
Nope.
at your.
It
was Infinity
you're
Ward.
1,000.
It was Infinity Ward.
100,000%.
Wait, hold on, am I crazy?
It was
Yes,
Infinity
you're
Ward.
100,000%.
When did that? Okay, oh yeah, they started.
Treyarch actually, I would say, wasn't good at their games until they made Black Ops 1.
Well, no,
I'll go that far.
World of War was a banger.
I didn't bang me.
Zombies started at World of War.
I mean, that may be the case,
And then
but
Black Ops 1 was amazing.
I had tuned out by then.
That's your problem. Black Ops 2 was
I don't think I was
better.
even playing games
So
by the
Treyarch-
time Black
Treyarch
Ops was coming out.
is the savior of COD, hopefully.
That
And-
is so funny because they were known as like the worst.
They
ones
were the
back then.
B team. I just want
But
you
I
to know.
do think they are probably the A team now.
They are.
That's what it
I'm not
sounds like.
arguing they're the A team now. They were the B team then.
Yeah, that's everyone's public. That's an Xbox opinion. That's right. That's an Xbox opinion. When you played on PlayStation, you knew the truth. You knew what was the best. Because back
We don't
in the
know the
day, I
truth.
want you to understand something. Modern Warfare was fine. The first Modern Warfare that came out, like back in not
You
the
were.
one,
I don't even know what you were doing the first Modern Warfare
I was
came out.
playing it.
That game was amazing. When
I
it
was a
came out.
squeaker. Like,
That
when I
game was
played.
amazing when it came out.
And it was good. It was a good COD. When MW2 came out, it was fun, but in a broken mess kind of fun. The game was
See, I never
changed.
played the online of those. I like the single player
Well, that's yeah,
on those first
I
two,
played
and then
online.
I was out.
I did all the online.
But then I jumped on to
yeah.
like Cold War with you guys, and I'll play every couple of
Cold
years.
War?
I'll
So-
buy
so-
that.
So,
So,
is
you're
this the
telling
time
me
to
what
jump in
made
again?
Treyarch kind of take over for Infinity Ward, which Infinity Ward's, I agree with you. The multiplayer was fun, but the campaign was more
so fun, yeah.
The campaign was terrible this go around. For
So
their
you're
game.
saying the Treyarch games, the Black Ops game came out and had much better multiplayer.
Multiplayer has been better because it's the balancing of it, but also the fact of zombies. Like I like zombies. I still play Black Ops 3 Zombies. I love zombies. I just am sick of playing the same dang maps over and over and over again. I'm at the point now where I'm playing a COD from 2016.
I'm shocked they've never just done a Call of Duty Zombies game.
Well, they tried. They did a whole game mode through Warzone for zombies, and it flopped.
Wow.
Too many zombies.
It's just like, the problem is like round-based zombies is just one of those things that people love because you want to do the Easter eggs and you want to.
So what's 6 going to be about?
6 is just Black Ops 6. You got assassinate Bill Clinton.
I saw that Saddam Hussein is in this one.
Yeah, it's.
And I saw someone, they wrote on Twitter, they were like, "We are 5 years from an Osama bin Laden raid."
I'm telling you, it's gonna be.
Can you imagine the Osama bin Laden mission
Black
on
Ops is
Black
so cool
Ops
because
7?
they use past historical figures. They don't need the future. Infinity War does the future crap. No one needs that. Black Ops is like, no, let's use past storytelling and just blow it up. Let's take Richard Nixon. Like, let's see what Richard Nixon was doing.
Yeah, let's see what he's up to.
That's the kind of stuff that I love about it. So we did get a teaser trailer finally. It looks great. It looks awesome. They've been putting out like little cameos, so you can go through and type in thetruthisnotreal.com, and you can go through an old CRT TV and flip through the channels, and they play cameos of the game, or they play like certain like teaser trailers.
Okay. So you're in. You're all in.
Treyarch made it. I'm always in.
I'm gonna play this one probably.
This will be
It
the one
seems
we
like-
jump in because we did War at War or not.
I had fun
Cold
with,
War.
I had fun with Cold War.
I
They
like
did
Cold
bring
War.
back
That
the
was fun.
the old Prestige system. Yo, do you remember that?
Oh.
Where, like, you Prestige, you lost everything. You had to do it again.
Yeah.
They brought that back.
Okay.
That has not been in the game since literally probably Modern Warfare 3.
Wow. Okay.
So
Yeah, I liked Cold War. I had fun. What did we pay like $30 for it on sale or something?
Yeah.
I had fun with
I
Cold War.
think I got it for my
and
birthday or Christmas.
All the
so.
Modern Warfare ones that have come out recently always seemed like hyped, and then they came out and everybody hates it.
It's
so I
trash.
didn't play any of those really. So
Long live Black Ops.
We'll jump into Black Ops 6. It sounds like.
well, what was the rest of Xbox up to?
So Xbox, we usually watch every year and we
do.
react to it. And
Yeah.
this year it was like, well, 8 years in a row we've been disappointed.
Yeah.
What if we just don't watch it? And finally they actually did for the 1 year we didn't. It wasn't incredible to us, but I think overall it was pretty funny how
They
it
did
was like-
something.
This was the first one.
They had a
But then
ton of
people
games.
were cracking up. It was like the one after they've announced they're bringing all these games to PlayStation probably is
Yeah.
what it looks like. That's when they announce games.
Yeah.
That's when they finally show games for Xbox players. So they showed the stuff I'm interested about but they showed a ton. They showed like a good
Yeah, there was a lot
amount.
there.
Gears of War E-Day
Yep.
kind of thing. Not my thing, but that's cool. That's coming back. That's
If it was called like Gears, this is so stupid. If it was called like Gears Zero,
yeah.
I feel like I'd be more excited.
But E-Day you don't like.
E-Day, I don't like these
It's a
like
rip.
subtitles.
It's a rip.
It's just a weird
E-Day.
like, title.
Yeah.
Just call it Gears Zero and call
Well,
it a day.
Microsoft's really good at bad titles,
Yeah,
bad
yeah.
naming.
I know
conventions.
that's a nitpick, but I will say
It's
on a
nitpick.
quick side note, I've been playing Gears 5 with
Yeah.
our buddy Alex.
Nice.
And it's so cool going back to that gameplay.
Yeah.
And revisiting. It's 1-to-1. It really, Gears 5 plays just like the old ones. And it's very fun, chainsawing, running around. I like that style of multiplayer where when you get killed, you're out, and then like
Yeah.
you're kind of waiting. They have other modes, but I was playing Gears 5 with him, and if Gears E-Day is like a return to form, like they're saying, maybe I'll check it out. But
I also
just call it
think
Gears Zero.
I-
What are you doing here?
I also
Legend Link.
think I'm looking at this through the lens of Gears of War E-Day, and I'm like, I've played Gears of War.
Yeah.
And even Fable, it's like I've played Fable. Like, what are you gonna do to like change the formula?
Well, they changed Fable a lot. Too much, I'd say.
What I mean by that too, though, of like all these things that are coming back or they're showing, and they're going to be fun games. But I look at when they announced Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
And when they announced that, I was like, I'm so done with Uncharted. Why are we doing 4? And I was poo-pooed on the game a little bit. Then it came out, I was like, this is the best one. This kind of had a new angle, and it like made you revisit that game
Yep.
and what that character was doing in a different way. And it's like, wow, like I've never seen a game
Look at
talk
that.
Yeah.
about marriage. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And talk about like problems in marriage and this and whatever. And I was like, that's really cool they use that. God of War. Now, me and you aren't like hyper on God of War, but
No.
like you have to respect it for like they took, that franchise from the PS2 was hack and slash, kill everything. And they're
Yeah.
like, he's a dad now and he has to like, explore this in a story where, more story driven game with, his son and this relationship. And it's like, that's pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
that is you're giving a different Like, just move over the angled. Like, take a different shot
Well-
of the game. And that's what I want Gears of War E-Day to do. Like,
Yeah.
maybe it will. I don't have high hopes. But, like, I want it to be, like, revisit that in a different lens. Like, look back at that thing and have a different commentary on it or something of that world. I don't know.
So I don't know how Gears will turn out, but I did see the director talking and basically say the first Gears, like the, whatever they're called, the
Locust.
demons, the
Locust, yeah.
They were very physically intimidating.
Yeah.
And then by the end of these games, like they're just cannon fodder, just blowing them
Yeah.
all away. He said they really want to return to, like, if you see one of those in the street,
It's scary.
It's a threat.
Yeah.
So they're kind of going back to survival action.
Good.
Horror,
Yeah.
more like a little bit of horror and less of just
Okay.
that's the pitch that they gave.
Yeah.
So I
they-
don't think it's as extreme as God of War 3 to God
Yeah.
of War reboot, but that is something.
Yeah, if they're doing that, then
I will say I don't know. I understand for nostalgia why you do a prequel. I think you can achieve that and just
do a
kinda
sequel.
do a
Yeah.
sequel, but that's
Yeah.
fine. The one that is what you're saying, which is Fable. Did you guys see the trailer
I
for
actually
Fable?
I actually didn't see that much
No.
of Fable. I only saw little clips of it.
That trailer is what you're saying. That is what they're doing. They are going hyper cinematic.
Yeah.
Hyper, like you are this character. There's no creative character, very clearly. Like you're this character. This is their narrative
Yeah.
story. There's this guy, looks like kind of different time periods that knows you. And
Yeah.
I am like, they almost naughty dogged it a little bit of
Yeah.
like, this is who you are. That bums me out because what I always thought was fun about Fable was it was wacky and it was goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'd make these goofy characters.
You
and
can't
you would,
lose the heart of like
Yeah.
what made it successful.
Yeah,
and
it-
Uncharted didn't, and God of War
Yeah,
didn't. and there's
this
stuff.
I'm
You gotta-
on nervous about the Fable. I've talked before on this channel of excited about where they go with Fable. I'm a little out on that. I mean, I'm sure there's an audience for what they're
Yeah.
doing, but I am almost at this point the really cinematic games. I'm kind of out. Like,
Yeah, I think
I get it.
we've
I've
said
done
what we-
it.
yeah,
We've
we've
seen it.
I've said
in the same way,
yeah.
like this things go in cycles. When we got done with God of War with the hack and slash,
Yeah.
like we didn't need another hack and slash God of
Yeah.
War to that level. We got cinematic God of War. Now it's like, what's next after the cinematic era?
Yeah, I'm
non-cinematic.
I think I graduated after Last of Us 2 and like last gen. Like I loved it, but I need more gameplay.
Yeah.
No, I mean Last of Us 2 had a lot of gameplay. I guess that's not a good comparison, but
You don't want to sit through
it,
a movie while playing a game.
yeah, it's too movie-esque.
yeah.
Let's
Separate
go back to
media.
less movies.
I'm trying to think if there was other
Perfect
stuff.
Dark
Perfect
was
Dark.
the one
Yeah.
thing that I was like, that's interesting because
Is that the longest running joke on this channel? The initiative.
That's the initiative, yeah.
That's the company.
And every
making this.
single game that they were supposed to make or come out, whatever, either got canceled
Yeah,
or
they've never released a game.
or it's finally out now, maybe Perfect
Yeah.
Dark. So
Possibly.
this game, the one thing I'm I'm like cautiously optimistic about this new Perfect Dark because I guess something came out right before this was finally announced and people were like, "Where's this new Perfect Dark game?" And I guess like a couple months ago they were like, "This game is a mess.
Yeah.
This game was in developmental hell. There's been like 13 creative directors on this thing," and it's like that makes me nervous when you have that
Yeah.
type of people swapping it.
You wouldn't
now,
know it
so-
from this trailer. It
Yeah, it looked
looked
tight. It looked tight.
The gameplay looked fun. The scenario that they played out. They
Yeah.
did a trailer the way I like, where they really show you a scenario or
Yeah.
a mission, and they're running around. It's got a little bit of Watch Dogs with like hacking things, a little
Yeah.
bit of Mirror's Edge running
Well,
around.
the
on
heart of
roof.
Perfect Dark, I did not play the N64 one. I skipped that one, but the 360 launched with Perfect Dark 0, and I was obsessed with that game.
Okay.
And that had like a lot of skill to it because you couldn't jump. You could only like hit a button and you would roll. So
Yeah.
that was the meta. Was like you'd hit a button and it wouldn't like turn the camera upside down, but you'd be fighting people and they'd just be rolling back and forth, and there was no jumping at all.
Yeah.
But I loved the multiplayer in that. I loved the single player in that. It's not a good game. It's a 7 out of 10 that I adore because the graphics looked incredible. It was the first like HD like era with the 360 and stuff. Love that game, but so I was like, oh, I'm interested in this. But like the heart of that is the wacko weird weapon abilities, and this weapon is really whatever. And it looked like they were trying to do
Yeah.
that with this. So
I was impressed that I walked away ready to check that out
Yeah.
when it comes out. So they also showed the Indiana Jones game.
yeah,
Pass.
I am out on this.
I think that's a $20 like bargain bin pickup just
That
to see
is
what's going
looking
on.
Yeah,
But I think it might be fun to check out, but never at 70. Never for 70.
Just like the way the acting and action is framed, it looks like an AI picked the camera angles. It looks like they set up the animations for the characters, and then they just use an AI to pick different camera angles of the action. It doesn't look like a... It's weird. It's not framed like an Indiana Jones movie.
Is that this year or next?
I don't know.
I think it's this year.
It looks weird, and it is first person, which is kind of a weird choice.
It's kind of a weird choice. That's why I'm like $20 bargain bin. See how this turns out.
Yeah.
That's how I pick up on it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's a weird one. That's a weird one.
Yeah, but we'll see because might be able to play all these on your PlayStation.
I think we hit most of it.
We forgot an Xbox, Nintendo, or Sony game.
Anything? Let us know.
Tell us.
Yeah.
Let us know. Tell us what you're looking forward to. Out of all this,
I got the list here, but I think we hit everything.
Okay. Out of all this, while he looks at the list,
what
are
was
you
your biggest
most
E3
excited
moment
for?
Right now?
Yeah.
Biggest
Black Ops
E3.
6. Easy.
I don't think anything at all that was shown. I can't remember anything enough to be super excited.
It's just Black Ops 6. The only thing I care about.
I'm trying to think what excited me the most. I can't even think of it.
The problem is,
really probably that Zelda.
I think that goes
Zelda.
with wisdom. I'm gonna buy that.
Because that just reminded me of Breath of Wild's system, and you just when you have that level of
I left the camera.
I think you're
I think you did. I think you're back in. You're back in now.
Welcome back.
The creative. I mean, that's what made Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom even more amazing. Was like, wow, you can solve these problems any which way.
Yeah.
So when I saw Echoes of Wisdom, was like, I thought that was really smart in a way that like, you can tell they're about dropped in the water. They're going to, you can tell like they're in the in between period of going to Switch 2.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
And so you're like, oh, what kind of games? Oh, we're getting like 15 ports for again. I feel like that was before Switch. We were getting ports.
Dude,
at the wazoo.
how have we not gotten the GameCube side of the?
I have no clue why we're not still doing that either.
I am over waiting for it. Give me Pokemon Coliseum on the dang GameCube.
Switch 2 sounds like. But
No,
so with all that, I was like, come on. But
you know what's going to happen? They're going to announce Switch 2, and they're not going to have any of those emulations.
I've been thinking that
They're not going to do that.
it's going to be a whole new ecosystem.
They have
Nintendo.
stated that this Nintendo Switch Online is like they're going to continue with it. They have said that.
Okay, yeah, but it doesn't mean they're going to continue the emulations over.
That's true. Just the online. No, I think they will. I think they will this time.
Man, you trust Nintendo? That's
now they're
crazy.
moving like molasses anyways. We still don't have GameCube games. We've got like 6 N64 titles. So it's like, I don't know. But
It's crazy.
I was just going to say, like, I do think it's a cool that, like, in this, where studios are shutting down or whatever, Nintendo's like, hey, let's just use this engine we already got for Link's Awakening, but let's add a really cool system on top of it. So I'm like,
Yeah, I think
that
I'm
was
with
a
you.
good use of resources.
I think that, Perfect Dark, and Astro,
Yeah.
which is one from each. I'm interested in all three of those.
Yeah.
Well, can I tell you guys that I probably played the most video games I have all year in this past month?
Wow.
Is that crazy?
That is
to say?
crazy.
I went on vacation. I actually went on a cruise. Have you guys never been on a cruise?
I've never been on a cruise.
It's really fun.
Hey, what cruise line did you go through?
Royal Caribbean, I think.
Dang!
Yeah.
Hey, dude, there wasn't a moment where I just didn't have someone giving me something.
Oh yeah.
What do you need, sir? Can I get a
Oh, can I tell you a funny cruise story?
Yeah, what?
Yeah, so you go, drinks are, part of your thing if you pay for
Abundant.
it.
Yeah.
So, I normally, if I go get drinks with like friends, or I'll go drink, whatever, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't drink a ton and I
No.
don't know the names. So I was going and like they had all these tropical drinks and stuff, and this was on my honeymoon, and there was one, it said it had like coconut and stuff, and it was it started with a D. So I went. I was like, "Can I get this?" I was like, "Can I get a DweeBros?" That's what I thought it was. And I said it like multiple times, and they would just sometimes they'd smirk because sometimes there's people from different countries.
Yeah.
Whatever, they'd smirk, but they give it to me. And I was
knew what you
talking to Jess, and I was like, "Yeah, I really like these DweeBros." And she's like,
Don't you ever-
She spit her drink out. She said, "What did you just say?"
You pulled a Zach Pike
And I was
move,
like,
is
"Yeah,
what you
these
did.
drinks." She's like, "That's a daiquiri."
Yeah.
And my brain, like you said, it zoomed back because
All the times you said
I've
it.
heard of the word daiquiri.
You're like-
I've heard people say that they drink daiquiris, but I'd never drank one and never thought of it that way. And I thought it was this weird, like,
Hey,
tropical drink.
100%. They're down in the bottom of the boat talking about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was
There's a
ordering
guy,
the queries.
That happened that happened recently. Somebody, when we had the baby, like helped us out with like food
Yeah.
and stuff. People dropping food off, and I got the bag from the porch and I was like, all right, let's see. I don't know. I'm very picky. I don't know if I
Yeah.
like this stuff. And then I was looking at the box. He's like, what did we get? And I was just silent in there. And I went, and I looked at her and was like, we got King Che. And she just looked at me, and then she was like, show me the box. Show me what that is. And I showed her, and she was in tears. Quiche. Quiche. I was like, quiche. And I was going, quiche. Quiche.
Bro, we're doing good for Ohio.
We're good.
All right, Jacob, you
So
were
I
on
went
it.
on a cruise. It was phenomenal. Went to Mexico. It was really, really nice. I drank so many tropical crushes. That's what they were called. I kept calling them tropical shocks. I kept doing what you did, but just differently. And it was great. It was a great vacation.
Nice.
Part of that made it amazing was I got to play my Steam Deck.
That is amazing.
This was awesome because I got to play the Star Wars Lego Skywalker saga game.
Okay.
Nice.
So Lego is a very cute franchise. When they put out a Lego game, it's cute, it's funny.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not super serious. And we've been watching the Star Wars series, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And I was just in that mood. I want to play Star Wars, but I didn't want to play Battlefront 2 on my Steam Deck, and I didn't want to go play one of the old games either. So I had the Skywalker saga. And I was like, I'm going to play that. I played Phantom Menace all the way through New Hope.
Nice.
While I was away. Which didn't take that long. I probably put like 20.
Yeah, those are kind of like easier games.
Yeah, but it was so much fun because I was just playing a game and I wasn't thinking. And
Nice.
It was nice. It was so cool. And so, plus it's Lego. Lego has really nice humor.
Yeah.
Without saying a lot of words, they just have really nice humor. And so I've been playing that. Really good game. Would I recommend it? Probably not. Only if you're like into that kind of
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
So they released like the original complete saga on Steam, and I
Yep.
have that. It's 1 through 6.
Yep.
But then later they released the Skywalker saga. Is the 1 through 6 in the original collection the same games as the 1 through 6 that are in the Skywalker?
No.
They remade 1 through 6 for
And
this, didn't
you know
they?
what's crazy is I was expecting to play those. I remember playing
Okay.
1 through 6.
Yeah,
And I have the complete saga.
Yeah.
Because I played it growing up.
yeah.
And 1 through 6 is actually difficult.
Okay.
There were parts in those games
Uh-huh.
that I remember playing them and I was getting mad as a kid because I was like, these are hard, and I think I would still get mad if I was an adult playing them.
Okay.
Skywalker Saga is 100% tailored towards kids.
Okay.
Like, do not get this if you're trying to play a legitimate game. Now, the collectible piece of it is great.
Yeah.
Like, you can play as literally name it, and they probably have it as a playable character.
Really?
Like, you name it, they can play it. Mandalorian, you can play it. Like, it has every single Star Wars character you can imagine as
Wow.
playable characters. That's cool. That's awesome. Still not worth it. Like, it's just not
It's made for kids. It
made
seems
for
like
kids. But for a Steam Deck, it's a great Steam Deck game.
yeah.
I was able to get 4.5 hours of battery life on it, getting 40 frames per second at full HD.
That's cool.
So that's good. Like, it was a great
Yeah.
Steam Deck game. But I was playing that when I was pretty much on the way to Texas. While I was on the cruise boat, I discovered my yearly love for a certain game.
Uh oh.
NFL 2K5 always
Yes.
comes back around,
Yes.
baby. Been playing that on my
Yes.
Steam
I
Deck.
thought you were gonna say Dead by Daylight, but I was like, there's no internet connection.
Oh, I mean, you could have internet, but
Oh, that's true.
no, dude, NFL 2K5.
I love that
picked
game.
up my old franchise on my Steam Deck. I haven't played it. I haven't played my Steam Deck in 6 months.
Yeah.
I haven't been out and about.
Yeah.
So I picked
Perfect
it up,
place
and
for it.
I booted up my Dallas Cowboys. I was 1 year in. My first year, I only won 7 games. I was like, oh, I'm in the off season. This is sweet. I had Michael Vick. I had Chad Johnson. I had
Michael Vick, pre-dogs.
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 I had Julius Jones. So I looked at my team. I was like, man, I need to make some splash in free agency. So I just jumped right in. I went and got Brian Urlacher. That was my big signing. And I went into a full season. I played a full season while I was away. Actually, season and a half of NFL 2K5. Won the Super Bowl my second year, which was good. I was like, I definitely gotten better. And then this next year, I went out and signed Terrence Newman.
Oh,
He was
nice.
a big signing
Nice.
for me. I needed a corner, and then I.
Are you playing where they update the thing?
No, I'm not playing the different. The
It's
updated
sometimes more fun playing with the old players.
That's why. So I made one more big signing, I signed him to a 6-year, $35 million contract. I signed T.O.
Oh, dude.
So I teamed up T.O. and Chad Johnson again.
Oh, that's
with
awesome.
Michael Vick.
That's awesome.
And I drafted a rookie running back and a rookie tight end, and I drafted a couple rookie safeties.
I love developing running backs in that game. That game has the best running system.
Because you can juke with the button.
Tapping A is great because it makes you actually have to exert some effort to sprint. Holding it to charge up and then do bigger versions of it. Madden just should rip that off.
Dude, you just played Madden recently.
I played a ton
And all
of
it does is confirm my mind. 2K was better.
2K is still better. It is still a better game.
Still better.
I think there's so many people like you. There's something's gonna rise up, and there's gonna be a game before we die. Like that's gonna be like 2K5 again. They're either gonna lose the thing or something's gonna happen. Like
there was a time when the bargaining agreement didn't get agreed to.
Because there's more people than just you guys that are feverish over this. It's gonna happen.
Madden has the rights, and they will pay anything.
EA's got it on lock, and they've got infinite money from the gambling stuff that's in the game.
I will say, FIFA. So FIFA recently.
We're hearing a lot of crazy noises.
No, FIFA recently
There's
cut
some people
EA off. I don't know if you knew that or not. So they can no longer use the term FIFA in their
I heard
soccer
that.
games.
I saw that.
They can only use the term FC.
Yeah.
And EA's thrown a fit because it has affected their marketing a lot. And FIFA was a giant juggernaut internationally. It was their best-selling game on EA.
Yep.
So them switching to FC has really affected a lot of things. But now teams are backing out of the contract as well.
Ooh.
So FC doesn't have all the teams that they normally would have as well because each team is not negotiated as a whole.
Yep.
They negotiate a deal with each team.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've been losing more teams over each year. So EA is kind of scrambling to keep that put together.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wish that Madden could find a way to get away from it.
Yeah.
Like if they could. And that college football's coming back, which I'm hopeful because I loved playing NCAA 14. Like it was a great game. But yeah, 2K5 is great, and on the Steam Deck is 90% better.
I need to get this installed.
Yeah, I'm playing on it. I have it upscaled, so like it's nice, and I'm running it like 60 frames, runs great, and I get like 6 hours of battery life on it. So it's just it's a juggernaut.
When I got my original Xbox, that was the first game we had. My dad.
And you're good at that game.
Yeah, I love that game. And my little brother wasn't even into football, and he still isn't really. He played it with me all the time.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And it has the old school offense. You have the veer offense.
Yeah.
You have all the cool stuff. A lot of stuff is still under center.
Yep.
And so like,
This is the wettest podcast and the most 2K5.
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 Building up your crib.
Quiche,
getting
the
those
most-
dude, I just beat
trophies.
Carmen Electra in bed.
Oh,
the other night.
yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
Hey, Maya.
Jamie Kennedy.
Dude, can I tell you the story? So I'm sitting there. It's like 11:30 at night. And I have my Steam Deck, and I'm playing. And Carmen Electra calls. She's like, "Hey, big guy, it's time to go to battle.
Carmen
You have
Electra.
what
I
it
haven't
takes
heard that
to
name
take on
before.
my team." And Maya turns around. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm playing the game." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So she turns back around, and I'm like, "Okay." So I quietly turned the volume down. So I start playing her, and I was like, I forgot they talk trash to you.
They talk in the middle of the game.
So I turned it back on, and as soon as I turned it up, you just hear her go, "Ah!" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, dude, what the?" Because I had a big play happening against her.
Yep.
And I was like, "Oh, I definitely need to keep this volume."
Oh, it's so good.
So it's just a great game. It really is. It's just a really
Tons of features. First-person football.
First-person football.
I love the classic moments. There's a menu where you can go in, and it's all these like classic moments from NFL history of like 4th and 24.
The Ice Bowl.
With 33 seconds left, the Eagles beat this team. You get the ball with those players at that spot. Can you do the same thing?
That's really fun.
So you play through these classic moments, and
they don't do that.
they
stuff
don't do
anymore.
anything like
It's
that
all
on Madden.
Ultimate Team based, and so I'm loving it. The franchise modes was my favorite part because you can renegotiate any contract at any time based on your deals.
Oh yeah.
People tell you yes or no. So I went through and worked some deals out with my linemen to try to get some money in my cap. Trading was awesome. There's just things about that game that's more in depth.
The training is deep.
Yeah.
Like, do they do ellipticals? You can be like, I want the wide receivers.
How hard you want them to practice?
Yeah, I want the wide receivers to do like, I don't know, like all different swimming exercises and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah,
so.
I have a blast playing that game, and so I'm still playing it to this day. It keeps my Steam Deck right next to my bed, and I'll play it every now and then. I'm gonna play a game tonight. And the stats are realistic. I'm rushing. I split my carries right now, so I'm like my running backs are getting 15 touches, and my other guy's getting 4 touches. Like it's Madden, you can ride a guy 30 times, and He's fine.
Yeah.
He's not going. 400 yards. Hell, he's fine. Put him back in the game. You can't do that in 2K.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually a simulation.
So what else you been playing?
So between those 2 games, I've been put some time in it. But my biggest announcement comes from the world of VR.
Oh wow.
The world of VR.
Did you do VR on the boat?
No. I came home to a very awesome news. If you've been a part of this podcast, you know I've talked about this game before. Blades and Sorcery.
We played that
We've played
for
it.
Hangouts one time. That was fun.
Has been in early access for years, and they officially dropped their big release. Their
Big
1.0.
release.
They're officially a full game.
Oh, they're a full game now.
They're a full
the
game
game's
now.
out.
And they blew the VR world apart.
What they do?
So the game was only sandbox, right?
Yeah.
They said, not only are we a sandbox game, we now have a story.
Oh shoot.
A fantasy RPG story.
Okay.
So you boot in as a no one who has to travel and find a home and build your home. And then you have to develop your skills based on what you want to do. Whether you want to be a sword fighter or a mage or whatever. And it's a dungeon crawling game. So what you do is you get there and there's a map and you have a guy named a Baron who you go visit and you sell and barter things with him in VR, by the way. He has voice lines. Like, they never had voice lines before in this game. He has his own voice lines. And so I'm booting this in and I find my home and I walk up and I'm like, man, I have no magic. And I want to learn some magic. And there's like, you have to collect these things called crystal shards. And they give you points to develop your character to get lightning and all that stuff. So I'm playing it. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I go through a dungeon. They have a boss at the end of the dungeon. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it's in VR because you're like, and I have this dagger. That's all I have. And he clobbers the mess out of me and you lost everything.
Oh, that's cool.
And so that's the game. It's now a roguelike
Oh wow.
RPG dungeon crawler.
That's
VR.
cool.
And
VR.
It's the best VR game ever created. And I've instantly started putting hours into it. But I was like, they've done more in this update than I realized. So I booted up you can create 2 saves, a sandbox save and then a character save.
Yeah.
Booted up my sandbox save. And they made it to where you can combine spells in different ways using your hands. So in the past, like, you could just throw a fireball or shoot lightning. Now you can create lightning arrows by just holding a lightning bar and it'll shoot a stream of lightning like this.
Oh nice.
You can shoot a giant lightning beam by putting your hands together and pulling it apart, and it shoots a giant lightning beam, which is awesome.
Wow.
You can shoot a fire lightning beam by combining fire and lightning. You can create a gravity hammer using your hands in a certain way. They have blown this game open.
That's really cool.
And so now I've tasted it where I want to go to my character in my story mode and learn this crap so I can just absolutely pwn people.
Yeah.
They added stealth elements so you can now crouch and stealth kill. So I was going
So you
through
can
this
like get
dungeon.
down on your belly
Pretty much.
in real life.
So this
Crawl through the
game's
kitchen.
taking a big leap forward.
Huge leap. I didn't know any of this stuff was coming. Like, they introduced dungeons in the last couple updates in the U11 and U12, but they were really vanilla. And then they slowly introduced the stealth elements, but they weren't huge. I can now walk up and cover someone's mouth and slit their
Nice.
you know what, and kill them. And they not make a noise because my hand's covering their mouth.
Did you cinch your throat?
You know,
Yeah.
you know what's kind of cool, and I'm glad someone's doing this. VR has a ton of potential, but I feel like so many companies would try to like make a game. Maybe they try to make 2 games,
Yeah.
but like you kind of got to set up a foundation and iterate
Yeah.
to really get somewhere with this. And it sounds like they're doing that.
Yeah, it's been
So,
5 years now in development, and they've been in early access, and they have constantly just kept the updates going, and they've allowed modders to be involved in it.
Yeah.
Every update, they wipe it clean, so you have to re-update your mods. But this one was huge because they installed a mod menu in the game that downloads mods instantly.
Yeah.
So they're like, we want you guys to enjoy mods, but here's the thing. They said, if you use mods in your story, it's just going to be a cheated file, and you'll know it's a cheated file. And I was like, I like that. I like that a lot.
yeah. Well, cool.
So, man, it has made VR just absolutely, I'm putting it on almost every night right now.
That's awesome.
And it's just great. It's just phenomenal. It makes me enjoy a roguelike game.
Yeah.
It does.
Very
I'm
cool.
doing it. It's all me. It's on me. It's not on no stupid mechanic. I can't roll away. I got to sword fight my way out of this. So I want you guys now to play this.
Yeah.
I want you both to play this.
It needs to come to PSVR too.
I'd try it out.
We'll see. Maybe one day.
I'd try it
Oculus
out.
3, man, it's the bee's knees. That's good.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, and I'm playing it all via the wireless connection to my PC.
That's
So,
awesome.
No latency, no issues. I've been in my living room in my big space playing it on my PC that's in my office in another room, and I'm not experiencing any issues.
Wow.
Nice.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
it worked great when we were doing that, but I only have played 2 games this month. One, a lot, when I got a chance.
Nice.
Still playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So I think the last podcast, I had not had time. Like, I've taken time off of it. And what I've heard from, there's a couple other people I know that are playing through it, and they all kind of said the same thing. Like, the game is very, very long. And we kind of knew that going in, but this is like, I'm at like 78, 79 hours. I don't know where I'm at in the story. Like,
That doesn't surprise me.
I'm in chapter 11. I don't know how many chapters there are.
You don't want to look it up?
I don't want to look it up. I just want to, like, I'm just playing the game and enjoying it. So I think I'm towards the end, because, like, where I'm at is pretty far into where, like, the game is supposed to, I think, because I did look up how far this goes into the actual original game.
Yeah.
So I think I am probably definitely in the last fourth quarter of it. But no, I took a long break, and some people are like, I'm kind of getting it. It's a lot. Like, you keep going to these regions, and there's all these new side quests that open up.
And you gotta play them too.
And I want 100% them, but then the last couple I've got to one where it's like, I'm just getting the story. Like, I'm going to jump to the story now, and
I found myself doing that in the first one.
then I'll do the story. There was a long time where I was getting 100% everything in these, but now I find myself doing the story, and then I'll jump in and touch a little side quest. But no, I freaking love this. The things they do with these characters, and man, I still am just like, this is the best RPG I've ever played. Like, you get so many cool character moments.
Yep.
That I'm surprised that Square Enix did this, like, made this type of game.
Yeah.
Because I've always liked, Final Fantasy 10, and then 15 had some really cool, like, character moments or whatever. This is, like, mature in a lot of parts and, like, deep, and it's like, wow, I didn't know they had that in them. Like, it always just seemed with these JRPGs, like, they're kind of one-dimensional. You know what I mean? Like, all these JRPGs don't have, like, very shocking character stuff that you see in other games. Or
I think
it's
they
no
put-
Last of Us, you know what I mean?
I think they
but
put
like,
a lot of time and effort in 7, in particular, in these remakes, because 7 is so... It's almost God-held in, like...
it's just so beloved.
Yeah, like, you can't... If you mess this up, your company goes under.
Yeah, they threw, and man, I've just been impressed every single time. The stuff they've done with the characters has cracked me up. They've like taken the time, like, how are they going to do that moment? Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I'm always like surprised by it. And having a lot of fun with it. So I don't know if I'll have it beat by podcast.
Maybe.
I might still be playing the freaking thing. The only other thing I only played for like an hour, maybe 2 hours at most. I played Animal Well, which is, I don't think I talked about that last podcast.
Is that
I don't think I even had a chance to play
big?
it.
Is that
That's Big Modes.
Big
which
Mode!
is Donkeys, the popular YouTuber.
Look up Video Game
published
Donkey.
this game, but the guy who made it is just one guy.
Yep.
Who spent 7 years making it.
I think this is his first game he's produced, or like
Yeah.
he's been helped push out.
This is for Big Modes, like, first thing, yeah. But yeah, it's one guy. You're like a little blob, and you're like running around. It reminds me of Fez, just with the graphics and the weird stuff. Like, each screen, basically you're just going. It's a side scroller, platformer kind of thing, and you're just walking around and kind of finding secrets and like finding your way through, and it doesn't tell you anything. I was just hopping around. I was like, okay, I remember that. Okay, there's a candle. Okay, I'll make note of that, and I'll go on, going on. Oh, I just got a match. Okay, fine. Okay, where was that? And you have to just remember these things, like when you find them, and like, okay, you go back to this point. But what I didn't know is it's kind of like Metroidvania in some regards. Like, you have this big map. You have a big map you can go around. I didn't know that was going to be a game like that. So it's kind of like a Metroidvania, weird Fez indie game. You're just kind of like exploring secrets, and I'm not that deep into it, but graphics are really cool. You just have these giant like birds. I mean, these giant like animals. I mean, it's Animal Well. These weird birds and stuff, and then you're just trying to figure out what to do. I'm like, it's just I like that kind of mysterious. Like, you're just kind of exploring the world. So Animal Well, check it out.
What you got cooking up, Travis?
Well, I finished a 10-year journey.
Congratulations, man.
I beat Destiny 2.
Nice.
100%.
No. I don't
Did you 100% it yet?
I actually, you guys are laughing So the
I did
final
actually.
shape
100%.
is their last big expansion that they
Final
did.
expansion, the final shape.
No, there will be future expansions, but this
Oh.
ends the this ends the 10-year saga.
The commitment.
The
Yeah.
saga. They're doing like a Marvel thing where they're gonna say
This was
okay,
Endgame.
Thanos is dead, but now there's new things.
Multiverse. Destiny multiverse.
But they released this final shape expansion. Last night I just finished getting the new exotic
Nice.
Kostov rifle that comes with that.
Is it worth it?
It's an amazing gun. It's an
Nice.
amazing gun. It's got really cool perks on it. If I can nerd out for a second, so it's got a perk on it called Shoot to Loot. And so if you see like ammo on the ground or like an orb you want to pick up, you can shoot it and
Oh,
you
that's
get it.
cool. That's cool.
And then it's got every 7 rounds, because Bungie has this thing where like 7 is like a big number. Then every 7 rounds is like this hyper powered like ricochet round, and it's an auto rifle.
Oh,
so when you're
okay.
shooting it like every 7 rounds,
Boing, boing, boing,
boom, boom,
boing.
boom. And if you pick up an orb, you shoot an orb of power to like bring your super back. It like buffs that and makes like more of the rounds do that ricochet stuff.
That's
So
cool.
It's a really cool gun. Yeah, the expansion was fantastic. So every time there's
And
a
this needed to be good. I remember last week.
this really
they could mess it up.
This needed to be good because the company was in a weird place, and I think the fans were kind of in a weird place where they're like, all right, I might be out after this, and it's renewed a lot of people's positive. They crushed it on
Cool.
every front.
Good for them.
The new destination, so every expansion they have like a new planet and stuff.
Yep.
Well, the planet this time is the inside of the Traveler. They did a really cool thing where it was, instead of it being like a big map, you guys have played Destiny, like it's a map, and then like
Yep.
you do a mission here, a mission
Yeah.
there,
Jump around.
you jump around.
Jump around.
This was their first linear destination, so when you open up the map, like you're starting way over here to the left, and then there's like this long string of like areas
Yep.
that are skinny all the way across, and then like the campaign is you're trying to go from here
to there.
to there. So each mission you're unlocking new parts in that path and
Cool.
moving across, and then the raid is like the end of the game. It's all the way to the right. And then after the raid, it unlocked a final mission, which you would laugh about this. So you always talked about Destiny. It was like 3-player fire team,
Yeah.
6 for raids and stuff. The final mission, and it leaked before, which is a bummer. They figured out the tech. It was 12-player.
Oh my god.
So your final mission, you jump in, and it is 12 players.
That is.
And
Yeah,
it
that would have
was-
blown my
It
socks
was
off.
amazing.
Did you have 12 friends? Like 11
No,
friends?
so that it's funny you say that. You could do matchmaking. So I did it with just random people.
Yeah.
Because what they did was when you beat the raid, like the witness is this bad guy. The raid, you're fighting against the witness, and when the first team beat the witness, he fell down back to the earth or whatever, and then everybody, or the traveler, what at heart, the mission unlocked for everybody when the first team beat the raid, which I'll get to that in a second. But
Yeah.
it was a crazy mission. Dude, people are popping supers. There's this big plate you got to jump on, and the enemies like throwing these waves and like knocking out like 10 people at once, all
Aw.
trying to resurrect each other.
That's
and
fun.
stuff. Well, they just released the legendary
So
version.
10 years later, they figured out
Yeah,
more
they
than
got
3.
12. They got-
Wow.
well, they've had 6 forever, but they did a 12-player
Wow.
mission.
You're just used to seeing the 3 people. Only.
But they did just release a legendary version of that mission that drops like a catalyst for the exotic weapons.
Yeah.
The exotic sword, and the legendary version does not have matchmaking. So you gotta, people are out on Reddit like getting 12
Hey,
man
I need
teams
people.
together.
Lock it in. Lock
Can you
it
imagine
in.
the comms?
Get
I haven't
Darkimus
done it
out
yet,
there, whatever
but
that
the-
dude. Were you there when we first played my first raid on
Yeah.
Destiny 2?
Yeah, when we did with TGDG or whatever.
I don't know.
That guy
he
was.
started an esports thing, and I was like, I'm about to go big here.
That guy was trying to get us to like have an Overwatch practice.
Yeah, I was like, bro, I don't got time. I was like, I'll
Yeah,
play.
he was
but, like,
dedicated.
I was like, I'm pretty good at Overwatch.
But-
I don't know if I'm that good.
So speaking of the raid, you guys have done at least one raid.
We
'cause
did
I-
one raid,
I
yeah.
got you guys through Leviathan.
One and done.
We
I did
got-
Leviathan. I think I did one more, but that's it.
Yeah. Okay. So you'll appreciate this maybe a little bit. So raids on day 1 are hard because you know how I was explaining everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, imagine if no one knows the answer.
Yeah.
And then it's like they hype up the difficulty and stuff. Well, this raid race, I always participate, but I paid closer attention to the other teams because as a participant, I could not fathom. Like the raid is really cool, but it's got some really complicated mechanics, and it was extremely hard. So they give you 48 hours. We played for 12 hours straight.
Gosh.
We couldn't beat the first encounter, but we were having a ton of fun, and we made the call this year. Normally we keep going later and later. We made the call. We were like, look, we're not beating this thing, so let's call it. And so we called it early, and I still had some energy, so I got on Twitch and watched like some of the big players like Dado and stuff. These people in this race this year, they were like the best teams in the world, were hard stuck at like 18 hours still grinding away. And there was an encounter. What did it was there was an encounter, and nobody could figure it out because it was like triangles and squares and circles,
those freaking symbols,
and sphere, and it was spheres, and they couldn't figure out. And what it was,
like how to beat this.
It was, you had to understand, like it would show like an ice cream cone, and you had to know that you needed a triangle and a circle to make a three-dimensional object.
Oh my goodness.
Or like 4 triangles making a pyramid or stuff like that, or a prism and stuff. So when they figured all that out, I was watching, and they were going. So last year's raid, I think something like 10,000 teams beat that raid in day one.
Yeah.
This year, only 220 teams beat it in day one. So it was very fun to watch, and it was very competitive.
Very difficult.
Extremely. I still haven't cleared it even off of the contest mode where the difficulty comes down, because it is complicated. The other thing they did that was really cool was in that mechanic, or in that encounter, there's this thing that kills everybody but one person on the team. And nobody could figure out, like, you see all these ghosts and these images. You had to learn what each person in your team was wearing and what ghost scan they were using. Because what you had to do when everybody died, you had to pull out your ghost and see what ghost they had, and you had to start pairing ghosts to guardians to resurrect them. It was super cool when people figured it out, but like it was like very like meta game.
Yeah.
Like people had never seen something like that
the script
before.
on how to beat it is out, basically now.
Yes, but it is
Still
so
difficult.
extremely difficult because
It doesn't matter.
everything in that raid is timed, and you have to be perfect.
Yeah.
You and the people
Teamwork.
on your team have to have
I felt like
teamwork.
the first raid I ever did, it wasn't like there was some elements I was like, this is difficult.
Yeah.
But I felt like it was just a lot of sponge shooting. And I
Yeah.
feel like it sounds like the Destiny's evolved past sponge shooting.
It just depends on the raid. Yeah. So like last year's raid was critiqued as you could almost not talk and still do it. And like the one you guys did, Leviathan, was extremely mechanics heavy and very complex.
Yes.
Almost to the point of, in certain encounters, you're almost like not even fighting. Like it's more like you're running
You're traversing
a race
and moving.
Yeah, so like there's debate in the community of like some people like the more action raids more, some like the mechanic puzzle raids more.
But it's different.
But it's different. The other thing that's fundamentally different from when you guys played is they have amped up the character abilities and stuff to where
I remember you
they're
talking about this.
almost more important than the guns at times. Like you have so many like. You can throw these tangly webs. You can do these Spider-Man moves and fly all over the map. And like when you do this, it recharges your melee. And like I actually had to check myself when I first got back into playing because I was just grinding out guns and getting good guns. But then we would do high-level content and I was dying.
Yeah.
And it was because I had to learn my abilities more and how to do things. And I've got like 600 hours in the game, and I was like floundering, like I didn't know how to
Struggling.
play. They've added so much to the game, like as far as that stuff. So
The final shape.
Final shape, very fun. I'm playing it a bunch still, and I've already long since finished the campaign, and I'll still be working on the raid and stuff. But
Congratulations,
good game.
though. That's
Good
awesome.
game. Very
Final
fun.
shape. Movies.
Dude, movies. We watched some movies.
Did you watch some movies on the?
I watched some movies. I don't remember.
Titanic.
No.
That would be a great
That would be a great
cruise movie.
Yeah.
I really think that would have been phenomenal to watch.
Yeah.
I actually watched a movie called The Help. Have you guys seen that?
I've heard of it.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
Emma Stone.
Yeah. I was apprehensive at first because Maya never says, let's watch a movie together. Like normally it's like we're sitting there and watching Hell's Kitchen. Like that's what we do. Hell's Kitchen, Survivor. That's it. That's what we watch in our house. Literally we were watching Hell's Kitchen again. Like that's just what we do. But she was like, I want to show you a movie because I think you'll really like it. And it was caught me off guard. And so she puts this movie on. It was on Hulu, and we'll start watching it. It's about basically the 1960s, about black women going out, and they were basically maids, borderline slaves, still, because it's like the civil rights and whatnot. And but they work as maids, and it's about them keeping their families happy. And the part she was trying to make me like get my reaction to was there was a part. Can I spoil this?
Yes.
Yeah, you're fine.
You don't care, okay. So a really wealthy family that has the girl, the wife, she runs like the wives club. Like all the wives go to her house and get all the fine stuff, and she fired her maid. And this maid has been like in her family for years.
Yeah.
Like raised her kids, like just flabbergasted that she got fired. All because she wanted to use the bathroom. And they didn't have a bathroom for her. They didn't want her using their bathroom because they thought you get diseases from it.
Yeah.
And so she's like, okay. Well, she gets fired, and she's mad. So she went to Emma Stone, and Emma Stone's writing a book about all these stories about these maids. And she's like, I did something terrible. And she's like, and I can tell you, but you can't tell everyone. And she's like, well, what's the story? And it goes to a flashback. And the maid, after she got fired, about a week later, she come to apologize. And she was known for by the family, the grandma, and all the generations, she made the best pies.
Yeah.
The pie she made.
Oh no.
Oh no.
And the grandma.
She left something in this pie.
She's like, I can smell that pie a mile away. And she pulled a pie and said, I want to say I'm sorry. And I made you a pie. And she's like, okay. She's like, come in and feed it to me. This is the wife, the young wife, trying to show off.
Yeah.
And the maid was like, okay, I'll cut you a slice. So they go inside, and they sit down, and she cuts her slice, and she gives them one. The grandma, who is a lunatic, she's like, can I get a slice? And she's like, no, let her eat her slice first. And so she's eating, she's like, oh, this is so good. And she's like, I'll tell you what, because the pie is so good, and you humbled yourself to come say sorry, I'll hire you back, but for $1 less. And the lady's like, I don't need your job. I just need to know you like my pie. She's like, oh, I loved it. She's like, okay. She's like, I hope you know I crapped in that pie. And you're eating my crap.
Oh my god.
And the grandma's dying laughing now. It's so bad that the wife puts the grandma in a nursing home.
Oh
She's
no.
embarrassed. But then her face breaks out, and she gets
Oh gosh.
stuff. So anyway, she tells the story to Emma Stone, and Emma's like, that is amazing, but like terrible. And she puts it in the book and everything. And so now the whole running point of the story is that the book
she
the
crapped
book
in the
came
pie.
out, and no one knew who the author was, though. No one knew who the author was because it was anonymous. But everyone in the community of Mississippi is like, this is an amazing book. This is a shame. Until the lady read her story. And she's like, I'm the only one I know who did this. And that became the contention point in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, so that she got doxxed because of the crapping in the pie.
But she can't tell everyone that.
Yeah,
because she ate crap.
She's not gonna admit I was the person that ate the crap.
Yeah.
I had no idea that movie would have had something crazy
it was a
like
heck
that.
of a hook. It was really good.
Wow.
But
That is fun.
And I'm sitting there, and my jaw is just like, it's crazy.
That's a crazy plot point.
It was really good. It was a good movie. So we watched that. I would say it's an okay movie. It's fine. It does its job. Like, is it like something I'm thinking should got an award? Probably not. But it did a good job.
It's the crap pie movie.
It's a crap pie movie. Other than that, we finishing out Star Wars. We're still watching through all of the Star Wars content that's ever been created, and we have finally watched the prequels. Not the prequels. I'm sorry. They call them the sequels. What do they call these?
The original movies.
I can't remember. It's freaking. We watched So we watched the original movies. We watched The New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and Maya.
Have you all caught up now?
No, we're now on to the
new
in-between
trilogy
stuff. We got to watch Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett. And
Oh,
crap.
shoot. Yeah, you're taking them
I want her to get everything.
chronologically, yeah.
Chronologically. I want her to get everything. We didn't go through Bad Batch because
God help her.
She liked this. The sad reality.
Where's Acolyte in all this?
We are not watching that.
It's the first thing now. It would be
Yeah.
the first thing.
Now you gotta start back over.
Banned in our house.
You have to start back over.
I'm mad.
I've been dying laughing because all the clips have been cracking me up. But my dad was like, "Did you see that Acolyte?" And I said no, and he said, I'm canceling Disney Plus.
Dude, they just,
It was
I mean,
like, they have just changed all this stuff that I guess
they've
was
ruined
original.
Qui-Gon. They've ruined everything.
Oh, I didn't know all that.
Yeah, they ruined one of the Jedis that are in the prequel.
This makes me kind of want to watch it just because the reactions.
Oh,
have
the
been-
when my dad was like, "I'm
it's
canceling
visceral.
Disney Plus," and I was like, "Did you watch it?" And he was like, "I haven't even seen it."
It's Zach
was like-
and Travis. It's bad. They have completely blown apart episode 1. Blown it apart.
Oh no!
Yeah. Well, the problem is that they've ruined. So
Not episode 1.
Acolyte has ruined episode 1, and because of what they did in episode 1, where the plot point was that this is the first Sith Lord in X amount of years, they're like, well, that makes no sense because one of your Jedi Council members are talking about a Sith Lord and the Acolyte, which happened 100 years ago.
I have heard that like there's a lot of stuff they kind of
they've just
retcon in a
completely
weird way. They
blown
just kind
open
of.
a lot of stuff. It honestly makes Qui-Gon look like an idiot.
Is Qui-Gon in it?
No, but they talk about him.
Oh,
And
they talk about Qui-Gon in the show.
They said there's a Jedi that's going to discover a very powerful boy, but they basically said like he doesn't believe in everything that you should believe in. And I was like, they're completely just
Well,
ruining-
Wait, no, that's true though. Qui-Gon was very kind of.
He was, but the problem is that there's the other. I can't remember his stupid name. He's the one that has a weird forehead. The pinhead forehead.
The Pinhead 4. I have seen that guy.
You know
It's a
what I'm
conehead.
talking
It's a conehead alien Jedi
So I
guy.
guess he might be a Sith Lord.
Oh, the
And
guy
no
that's
one
in the
knew-
council.
Yeah.
And no one may have known. No.
I would believe it because those Jedi on the council were oblivious to everything, man.
So, but like he was funny. Because,
They didn't
like,
know Anakin was losing his mind for
but
3 years.
In episode 1, he leans over. He's like, "There hasn't been a Sith Lord in thousands of years." And then episode 2 of this show, there's a Sith Lord standing right in front of him. And it's like, and that took place like 100 years before the episode 1.
I have heard like they have a similar problem to where it sounds like, but even worse. We always talk about how these newer Star Wars movies, they can't get away from the original movies.
Yeah.
They have to have Luke. They got to have whatever. And it's
Yeah.
like, just build your own. That's why
I thought this was gonna be new. I didn't know this was gonna be strapped down
But
with all
what I've
that.
heard that's worse, and I haven't seen it, so I really can't attest to the complaints I've heard, but people have said, like, what they have done instead to make things seem more powerful or whatever, they put down all of these legacy characters, or like,
They're
these
making them
people
look stupid.
suck, or they are stupid. It's like, that sucks too. It's like,
They've
Luke
also
Skywalker
ruined-
was the stupidest guy in the world, and then they move on. It's like, well, that sucks too. I don't know.
There
Like,
is some things that was good because like because there's such a long time of peace, the Jedi's got soft and they kind of got like they weren't really well trained, and the Acolytes kind of like there was one scene where there was 10 Jedis and they all got beaten up by one Sith Lord, and I was like, this is really crazy.
I'm still laughing about what I put in the group chat. That's all I know is there's this kid, and I saw it on Twitter. It's this kid-looking Jedi,
Corbin
and
or
they called
something.
him Master, and they were like in his younger years. Like, what younger years? This guy looks like he's fresh off of the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, and you're talking
Yeah.
about his younger years.
We're not gonna watch any of that. We will watch Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett because they are good in my opinion.
but no
Did she
Acolyte.
like Return of the Jedi?
So
And
this is where it's kind of interesting. She still thinks Revenge of the Sith might be her favorite.
okay,
But and here's where she if she had to pick, she thinks New Hope is boring.
well, yeah. After seeing everything,
everything
that
else, that
came
makes sense,
before
yeah.
it,
She's like, New
yeah.
Hope is a snore fest, and she's like, I honestly like I did not enjoy it. She's like, half of it was sand. and,
That's
like, the-
inevitable if you're
And I'm like-
watching it from the.
Yeah, which I'm okay. I want her perspective on it. I don't think New Hope is amazing. I think it's a very middle safe movie. But my favorite is Empire Strikes Back because the bad guys win and it's really cool, and like I really like the whole story where like everything starts becoming the twists and all that cool stuff. But she just thought like Luke was cool, not great. She didn't like the puppets. She was like, the puppets look old and they look bad. She thought Yoda being a senile little hermit is hilarious.
Yeah.
So there's some things she really.
That would be a
really-
fun payoff if you had watched the original, like
Yeah.
or not the prequels, and like Yoda is like this warrior to
Yep.
see him be that senile character.
That was-
would be a good payoff.
But her biggest hang up was something I didn't mention to her. She's like, why is Luke and Leia kissing so much? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, they just
That one's
did
a
it.
good one. And she's like, yeah, but she's like kissing Luke to make Han mad.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, and it ruins. It doesn't matter though. No one doesn't know that Darth Vader's Luke's father, but it
Yeah.
does theoretically ruin that plot twist. But
it does.
who doesn't know that?
Do you know what's crazy to think? My son doesn't know that.
Your son doesn't know.
There
My
is
son
still
doesn't.
some stuff.
There's
but
hope for him.
There's
Yeah.
a new hope.
Yeah.
There's a new hope. Maya, here's the thing. Maya knew it was coming, but she was like, when he finally said, Luke, search your feelings, I'm your father, whatever.
Yeah.
She was like, okay, so when does Leia find out? Because that was when her thing was like, because she was really hung up on the fact that Leia just kept kissing Luke. She's like, someone has to, and then she's like, and Luke doesn't tell her right away. And he's like, wouldn't you want to tell her right away? Like this
Does he know? He doesn't know an Empire yet.
No, he doesn't.
He finds out later.
He finds out later. And that's why she was just like, reveal this information.
Yeah.
Let's get this information
Should be
out.
happen. So
He didn't find out till even after the bathing suit scene in Jabba's palace.
That's what I mean, though, is that's why she's like, say something, like do something. And she hates Jabba. She thinks
Jabba's gross.
the worst thing ever created. But I showed her old Jabba. I was like, he wasn't as bad. Old Jabba, like as a puppet, was better than new CGI Jabba.
Yeah.
They really grossed him up on
Yeah.
the CGI. So I don't know. I think Revenge of the Sith for her is the best one because it has the best fights and it has the Anakin.
It's a good movie.
It's honestly in hindsight.
I was shocked when I watched it a few years ago. I was like, I really like this.
It is.
It's still got some goofiness.
It's creeped
but
up my list for more and more, but I think when we watch these new movies, I think she's going to have the same opinion about the first one that she did about New Hope,
Yeah.
and I really think I'm going to lose her in the last episode. I mean, she is going to be so confused. Like,
Yeah.
It's not even going to be funny.
Yeah.
I don't even know how I'm going to explain this one to her.
Did I tell you guys I saw Phantom Menace in theaters a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
I love that. Was just awesome.
It
I
is.
love that. That
It
was so
is.
good.
Movie theaters have been re-releasing or replaying movies.
Tons of old movies. Yeah,
I love
they're
it.
doing the Nintendo route.
Yeah.
Let's put Donkey Kong Country
Yeah.
Returns back in
I
theaters.
think they just want
Yeah.
people to come to the movies.
Yeah.
And they're realizing that new releases aren't
I'm
great.
more likely to go watch some of these old movies than some of the new
Yeah.
stuff.
I went and saw a couple
miss
years
movie
ago. We went to Columbus to see 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yep.
And that was awesome because they left the intermission in.
Yeah.
It has an intermission.
That's cool.
You go back, get some more popcorn, come back, use
That's
the
cool.
restroom.
Yeah,
so like,
no.
I love when they do that. Like, so episode 1's really cool. They did that.
That's
We
awesome.
did. There was one more thing I wanted to point out that Maya noticed about the last Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
When Luke took, when everything happened with the Emperor, and she she was happy about it, but up until they took his mask off, and she's like, he has a British accent, and I sat there and listened. I was like, oh, he kind of does, and she's like, Anakin wasn't like British, and I was like, well, you gotta remember this was filmed before Anakin came around, and so I was like,
It's also voiced by a black guy.
yeah, I was like, there's not much you can really do about that.
Yeah.
But it's weird. She caught that, and I never really knew that. I guess I never really listened that intently because he didn't say a lot without his mask off. And when you listen to it, it's like it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So
Star Wars,
Star Wars. Hopefully, by
Acolyte.
the time we get back to you, we'll watch Mandalorian.
but not Acolyte.
I'm not going to go in depth on this, but there is. Do you know who Jenny Nichols is? Is that her name?
Oh, she did the video on
Yeah,
Star Wars
so
Hotel. I watched that whole thing.
I'm in the middle. I'm halfway through
Okay.
it. She
Yeah.
did I mean, it's popped off big time on
Yeah.
YouTube and stuff. She did a 4-hour video about the Star Wars Hotel that was a disaster. I thought I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, I might be just about to come out of my I can't handle anything Star Wars mode. Watching this is re-radicalized me. I think it's over. I don't think I'll ever watch, or maybe I'll watch Andor sometime because I do think that looks cool.
Andor is very good.
But I am so fried on that whole universe. I don't know if it'll come back.
I'm actually
after
watching. I want to
that.
connect this with a YouTube video that I'm watching now. It's from a YouTube account called Defunct Land, and it's
I
all
know
it's
you're
all
talking
theme
about.
park.
Yeah.
It's a lot of Disney, but it's very theme parked, or like all these like going back and talking and doing these kind of almost documentaries.
yeah.
The one I'm watching now is Kid Cities. And what they were like, it started in Mexico, and they were like going through the story of these two business partners who they had an idea of like, hey, kids love to like act like adults. They like to like, you know what I mean? Like act like they're a policeman or whatever else. Let's make a role-playing like theme park place where they can like get money and they have jobs and whatever else. And it is hilarious where this goes, like what happens, because they were talking about how So they give them a check when they come in, and there was different ones that actually had the ideal to do this, but in this one that they're talking about, they give them $150 when they come in, 150 like I don't know bucks or I don't know kid bucks or whatever.
Kid bucks.
So they get in there, and they had like it somehow worked, like this whole role-playing thing, because they had all these jobs. They had policemen, they had fire department who put out a fake fire, they had like grocery store, they had like a directors, they had like actors, and then they put on a play, and you could pay to go see the play. And it was awesome. I was like, this is really cool. They made this whole like little society thing. It said, but they were like, it wasn't soon before they discovered, the kids discovered they could write bad checks. They're writing bad checks. They could go to jail, but then they had like these rubber like things, so they found that they could get through. There were like jailbreaks. They were quickly like they're like it goes crazy of like. They were like robbing. They were going in and robbing the grocery store. Like so the kids were murdering.
Dude, I am looking this up as soon as
You
I
imagine
know.
you come in, you guys find the job of cashier, and you're like, man, this is a tough day today. And you just hands are
So basically a GTA roleplay server after like a month.
Yeah, but it was cracking me up because like they talked about their format and like yeah, you get this $150 and then all this, but then like there was different formats that like took it to like more of a like educational thing, and it quickly turned into like they had like quotes from the kids. They made it to where they had to pay taxes and all this stuff. So they were interviewing at one of the things that was like, "Oh, are you gonna do that?" And it was like, "Oh yeah, it costs $25 to or it costs $35 to get this." "Oh, you're gonna get this?" Like, "I have $25." And they're like, they didn't have enough money to like do the stuff after the taxes. And they had to pay like this.
Hey,
like,
that kid leaves
but,
so
like,
depressed about life.
it cracked me up because it was like kids are just speed running. Oh, capitalism sucks! Like they're like speed running all the pitfalls of
Dude, I'm about to
capitalism.
go home and watch that.
This sounds amazing.
To watch that with me because that is hilarious.
Yeah, please do so. I'm cracking up at it, like all the stuff that's going on. But all that to say, watching that, I connected it back to that.
Yeah.
The Star Wars Hotel thing, because I'm like, hey, this was figured out in the '80s,
Yeah.
and it was kids involved, and it
Yeah.
was really fun. Why couldn't we figure that out? Like now watching this,
Oh,
I'm like,
it was
I'm
just
like,
a disaster.
I'm like, why couldn't you figure it out? if
It
we
didn't
were-
last. How long did it last?
I don't.
There was
a
economy
couple
systems
years.
in this, and you
Yeah.
did not have an
Yeah.
economy system.
Yeah.
You had
in that.
credits, and it was like, I know the whole thing. I wanted to go to it because it's such a novel idea.
Yeah,
The problem, one, it was overbooked right away.
and overpriced.
It was
And
it
it
was
was
it
the
was
price. The
flawed
price is the
fundamentally from the
Yeah.
beginning.
And so,
Yeah.
The experiences they had set up were not.
no.
It's a really cool.
I
Video,
think the
but-
blamest thing in that is when they showed the games with the phone you scan, whatever. The like the activities that they have you do is going in the park and scanning crates, and it was like this. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a waste! Like,
Yeah.
why did you do this? Like, but
I
don't
yeah.
know.
I-
There was cool parts. She shows the cool parts about it, but
I think I
far and
just
few between. But
I'm going to lean in this, and this is just my last kind of thought about Star Wars. I forever will love the franchise, and so I can't get away from it. I just wish that instead of adding new stuff, they would lean back into the Old Republic stuff, but not
Dude.
do what Acolyte is doing.
Dude, it's out there for the taking.
It is, man.
Go to the old and dude, I could ramble about this.
I know, but I'm with you.
I've heard the high up people at Lucasfilm. They'll ask them about Old Republic because people are begging for it. They're
Yeah.
like, "Look, it's a complete fresh start. It doesn't have to relate to any of this stuff."
Nope.
Dude, people fighting with like vibro swords and stuff. Like it could be visually really different. And they said whatever Kathleen Kenner, whoever,
Dude, don't
that they
even get me
see it as
started.
a video game franchise. It's like, dude, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
You could do so much fun
Yeah.
stuff.
I
in that
think I
era.
wonder if the train of thought is changing now that even though it's a video game and it was kind of video game with that came out, whatever. Between Last of Us and
maybe.
Fallout, I
I'd
wonder if
hope
they're like,
so.
I wonder if they're gonna go, oh, that's what's actually selling.
Yeah.
I think they'll turn.
The problem is,
I think
like,
they'll turn-
The Acolyte's supposed to be like a, again, not a precursor. But
It's
like
their
a-
High Republic.
Yeah,
It's
it's
some
the
made up
High
thing. Everybody's begging for Old Republic,
yeah.
and they're like, "We're doing High Republic."
I
It's
think
like,
after
just do Old
Acolytes
Republic.
Yeah,
once-
just do old. The problem with
I think they'll go back. I think they will do Old Republic.
Ugh.
I think because they're just getting crapped on from they're eating the crap pie from the help right now. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna go back to Old Republic for sure. I
I
think.
hope so. So those are the only movies we watched.
I've only watched I watched The Crater. It was really cool. It had just an okay story. It's about an AI. Like it's like a war between AI and like humanity and stuff. It was okay.
Who is this? Who made
The
this?
creator.
Who made it?
I thought you were excited for it. The creator, you said it looked really good. It was that sci-fi film.
Oh yeah, it had
Yeah.
cool visuals.
The
Yeah.
visuals was awesome throughout and stuff, but the story was
Okay.
like it kind of left me wanting. But
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
about AI and
It's
stuff.
the District 9 guy, or no? It's who made that?
The sci-fi was really cool on it. It's the guy from Tenet is the main.
Oh, the guy.
character,
Oh,
Okay,
main
okay, okay.
guy on it, but yeah, it kind of left me wanting a little bit.
Oh,
it was like
yeah,
a 3
yeah.
out of 5. But cool visuals, and it was shot on the camera that's filming the podcast right now.
Oh, hey!
Much more expensive lenses, but,
Yeah.
and much more CGI.
Yes.
We were watching it. Chelsea just kept going. Oh, okay. Like, why didn't your movie come out? Like, it's filmed on the same
Or
thing.
if you're looking like your movie, it's
but-
getting dark, bro.
It's getting real
is
dark.
getting dark.
We may have to wrap this.
We'll wrap
puppy
it up with the last thing I do want to talk about. Watch one TV show
I did too, but go ahead.
called sorry, Your Honor, and
Wait
it
a
has
minute.
Bryan Cranston in it.
Yeah.
And the premise is this guy Bryan Cranston plays a judge.
Uh-huh.
And in the first episode, his son we see go to this really bad part of town, and he's in front of like this quick stop, and he has like some flowers and a picture and stuff of somebody. We see a woman or whatever on it. It's like, okay, somebody died here or whatever. Puts it away. Kind of gets chased out of there. It's a real bad neighborhood.
Yeah.
Something's not right, and he has to get out of there, but he leaves it. He comes back. He's run from these people or whatever. He comes back. He goes around the block, sees that they busted this up.
Yep.
And he's kind of upset, and he's like, whatever. And he has what's it called? Inhaler.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, I need that or whatever, and rams into a kid on a motorcycle.
Oh.
And they have a traumatic wreck.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, we saw that kid on that motorcycle come from this high family and stuff, this very rich family, huge house, and they get him this motorcycle, and that's his birthday gift. Hits this kid. He comes over, gives him mouth to mouth, tries to save him, and nobody's around. It's in this neighborhood or whatever. And he finally has to get his inhaler, and he leaves. He's so scared, but he knows that kid died. He comes back, checks him. The kid he has killed this kid. He comes home. He calls the dad's home or whatever. He's freaking out or whatever. He's washing his clothes, all this, and he's explaining what happened. He's like, Dad, I killed this kid. And it's Bryan Cranston's is his dad, the judge or whatever. And he's like, well, we have to go to the police station. I'll help you out with this, but I'm sorry, we got to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And they'll understand this is your first offense. They'll understand this is an accident, right? He's like, yeah. He was like, in my inhaler or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They go to the police station. And he's like, let me tee this up, stay in the van. Because he knows all these cops and stuff. He's like, let me tee this up and let this be whatever. So he goes in. He's about to,
Drop the bomb.
basically bring his kid in to go to jail, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All this is about to happen. And as he's in there, he hears, some, woman just wailing, just crying. It's the mom from the beginning of the episode that gave that motorcycle. It's that family. Bryan Cranston looks over, sees him, and Bryan Cranston's like this, freaking out. And they're like, sir, do you need help or whatever? And he goes like this, and he walks back out.
Oh, he leaves.
And he goes to the van, and he's kind of fast walking, and his son gets out, and he says, get back in the car. And he's like, what are, I was about to turn myself in. He says, get back in the car. And they walk out, the family's kind of sad, and they're kind of crying and stuff, or whatever. And they get back in the car, and he's like, do you know who that is? That's so-and-so, Baxter. They're the biggest crime mob family, or whatever. You just killed his son. We cannot say, you know what I mean? They will kill you, they will kill me, they will wipe us out if they find out what you did. And that's the premise of the story. Is he
that's
basically goes
crazy.
back into Walter White mode of lying and trying
dude.
to cover up all this
my
and him in
gosh.
the car and stuff. It's a great premise.
Oh, that's
We're
cool.
3 episodes in, but
Wow.
you get to see Bryan Cranston go
Go
back
into
that
Walter
role.
White mode.
He's so good for that role.
Oh,
'cause it's
that's perfect.
so it's all these moral they've added 13 layers on top of that
Oh, yeah.
of law and morality and how
Oh,
people
man.
used to you know, this stuff like, oh, like so and so, if you're a cop, like, and I know you're my friend, you're
Yeah.
gonna go, and all this stuff that's going on behind the scenes.
Oh
like,
man, that
tons
sounds
of that.
cool.
So
That's a
pretty
good
cool
time.
so far.
That sounds super cool.
Yeah.
Where are you watching that at?
That is on Showtime.
Showtime.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good pitch.
That's a
Yep.
pitch.
I like
So
it.
Your
I'll have to
Honor.
check it out.
Cool.
I did not watch anything like that. I watched South Park's new special that came out.
Oh, the Ozempic thing.
Ozempic
Was it good?
special. They are just great.
They got
people.
their finger on the pulse,
Bro,
man.
they do. So you guys have heard about this
Yeah.
stuff? It's been huge lately.
Yeah.
And they just completely just tore it to shreds. I mean, absolutely. One, they made fun of the American healthcare system. But then two, on top of that, Eric Cartman, he just wants to be skinny. That's all he wants. And like the entire episode's him crying. Like, I'm going to, like, he keeps threatening to eat this KFC bomb. And it's a bucket of KFC chicken with cereal, milk, ice cream, and all this stuff. Like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to end it. I'm going to end it. And Butter's just like, no, don't. We're going to help you become skinny. Don't do it. And it's just funny. Because all Eric wants is Ozempic so he can get skinny. He's like, because he kept having dreams about skinny him. And he's like, if I had Ozempic, I'll be skinny. And so, but what's happening is like, Randy Marsh starts to realize no one's taking his marijuana anymore. He's a marijuana farmer, and he finds out everyone's taking Ozempic. So he goes and starts taking Ozempic too. And all these moms walk around all skinny, talking about how they've lost weight naturally, but really they're all on Ozempic, and it's just really good. They are just hilarious, and they are just so on it. I'm glad they switched this special instead of doing like episodic
Yeah.
episodes, because it's
It
like,
makes sense more in a like this type of digital like
Delivery,
space now.
yeah.
People can just see stuff very quickly on
well,
TikTok
also,
now
it gives
or
them
Twitter
time
and
though.
stuff.
It gives them time to build up jokes.
Yeah.
Because after a while, like they were kind of like, you're using your characters to tell the jokes, like you're telling stories, and you're not making satire.
Yeah.
Now they're full on back to satire.
Yeah.
And it's great. That's what makes them.
Where
the
do
best.
these specials air at?
Paramount.
Okay, because I want to check this out. Jess and I have watched a ton of South Park over the last couple months.
Yeah.
And, just going through all sorts of random episodes and different eras
HBO
of the
has
show.
the COVID ones,
Okay.
and then Paramount picks up after that with the pandemic special,
Okay.
which is like it's bonkers.
All right. This one sounds funny.
But Ozempic special is great. That and the episode Dick and Balls.
Okay.
Have you seen that one?
No. I love Randy.
I've seen
I
Crap
love
and
how
Pie.
they use Randy.
That's what I've seen.
Randy is
Randy
the most
is-
like.
Dude, here's the thing. People started complaining and it's getting dark.
Yeah, it's getting
we
so
can wrap
dark.
this up. Well, you know
Wrap it
what?
up.
We'll talk about Randy Marsh next month.
I'm good
Yes.
with that.
Next month.
Let's do that.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed we talked about toilets. We talked about wet.
Close
We
down.
talked about
close the place down.
pooping
Yeah.
pies.
We've done a lot of things.
We didn't talk skibbity toilet.
Skibbity.
We need it for the algorithm.
Yes.
So skibbity toilet. Hope you've got some skibbity riz from this podcast and have enjoyed it. Hey, check us out on TikTok. We're DweeBros on TikTok. And we're on X.
We are.
And you should check us out. Click like, click subscribe, and we'll bring more toilet content to you, more wet content next month. Any last words?
I've had to pee for the last 50
Okay.
minutes. So
Yeah, so-
let's end it.
Yeah,
Get
he
outta
might, I don't
here.
want him to pee in the pool.
Take care, guys.
See ya.
Thanks.